Our next guest is a legend and pioneer in both MMA and pro wrestling. He most recently took a controversial loss at Bellator 149 after the referee missed a low blow which affected the outcome of the fight. It's always a pleasure to welcome back Ken Shamrock to Submission Radio. Ken, welcome to the program.
Hey, listen, thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
No, of course. We always like having you on. And there's a lot to talk about, obviously. Before we get into your fight and break down the controversy, we just want to get your thoughts on a few things that happened early that night, as well as the event in general. Let's talk about the ratings for Bellator 149. Obviously, already the numbers are indicating that it was a huge success viewer-wise. What did you think when you saw how well it did on Spike?
I expected it. I truly did. I've been a part of a lot of different organizations with different fighters and been able to push those numbers up above record-breaking numbers. And I really do have to, I have to give that all credit to the fans that have followed me over the years because they truly have made this possible. Without them, we don't break them records. We don't get the viewership. So I've always wanted my fans to know how much I appreciate them. And now it's paying off. And for that, I'm thankful for them. Thank you so much.
Well, apart from the controversy surrounding your fight, the other big thing taken away from the event was the horrible fight between Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. I'm just wondering, Ken, what did you make of that fight?
I'm a little bit different than most people because I think that you've got two different types of people that watch this fight. And on the first half, the ones that you're hearing loud and clear are your hardcore MMA sports writers and hardcore MMA fighters and hardcore MMA fans. They're not going to like that fight. But there's a reason why Kimbo Slice is breaking record numbers also. When he goes out there, many people want to watch him. It's not because he's a skilled fighter, because we all know he's not. He's just the guy that likes to throw big hands, and he gets tired, and he gasses, and he's done. But nothing has changed since he first stepped in the ring. So I'm not quite sure what the criticism is here with people screaming and yelling, saying it was a horrible fight, this or that. And I think to myself, when they promoted the fight was promoted as a Miami beef from the streets, and it was two street fighters. And that's exactly what it was. And I heard some people say, that's not a street fight, man. Street fights are better than that. No, they're not. You may now and again get a tough guy that happens to be an athlete. That's different. But I'm talking about two guys on the street, two thugs on the street going after one another. If one guy doesn't knock the other guy out after a minute or 30 seconds even, it becomes a real slugfest, a slobber knocker where nobody's in shape. They're falling over each other. Someone's trying to get position on the other one. That's exactly what it was. I didn't look for any more skill sets or any punch combination. I looked for a straight up tough man contest, and that's what I got. So I didn't go in thinking anything that it wasn't. And I think that most of the fans that are not hardcore fans, they watched it and they were entertained. But like I said, you've got two sides here. You got people that know MMA, and you got people that don't know MMA, but they're fans and they like to watch. And they're going to love what Kimbo did. I promise you that. And that's why they keep coming to watch him fight. So I get it, man. And towards the end, it got a little rough to watch. But we got what was it promoted as. It was a street fight. If you looked at it like that, you got what you want.
It's actually a very solid argument there. And actually, there's some fascinating points, Ken. Now, moving on to your fight, there was obviously a lot of fans who were looking forward to your fight with Royce Gracie. It was a chance to finally get some closure on your previous two fights. However, there wasn't much of a resolution. Before we even get to the groin shot, tell us how you felt in the cage that night, and what was your analysis of the fight up to that point, before the groin shot happened?
Going into the fight, I wanted to make a statement. The whole week of the fight, I wanted to make a statement to the fans, to Royce Gracie, to everybody, that this was a fight between two legends and that the respect should be paid by both sides. Because of the grudges and the things that we were trying to do early on in our career to make a name for ourselves, we're not doing that. We're not top-ranked fighters. We're older fighters who enjoy competing and having fun at it. And I wanted to make sure this didn't turn into a bad thing, because after the fight was over, win, lose, or draw, I wanted to make sure when we walked out of that ring, me and Royce Gracie had squashed our differences, even move on in life. So when we go to do appearances and different types of get-togethers with MMA, that we are friends. from that point. And so you could see me shaking his hands at weigh-ins and shaking his hands at different interviews because I wanted to set the standard that yeah, you know, this is about us going in there and finishing our legacy, but it's not about us going in and trying to start anything that isn't going to do any of us any good. Let's go out champions. Let's go out and walk away from this friends. And I did that all the way up to the fight. And it's pretty disappointing considering that was what I wanted to do. And then I got some issues with his integrity now. I mean, when I fought Royce Gracie the first time in Denver, Colorado, I was in a fight with him, and he got a gi choke on me. And I remember he let go. The referee didn't stop the fight, but he let go because I tapped. Well, the referee said, no, keep fighting. Royce Gracie stood up and said, no, you tapped. You tapped. And I looked up at Royce, I looked at the referee, and I wanted to lie. I wanted to say, no, I didn't. But out came my mouth was, yes, I tapped. And I couldn't believe I said it, although it was the right thing to do. And so here we are 23 years later with the same kind of thing, with some integrity that a fighter has to step up. Royce Gracie has to step up and say, yes, I did knee him in the groin. I did foul him. We should do this again. But no, I get the other side of this thing where he's trying to fight in every way he can to deny it. And to me, that is not a good thing for him. He needs to step up, just like I did in the first fight, and admitted to it, because I could have gone on. The referee said, keep fighting. I could have said, no, I didn't tap. And then, of course, the replay would have showed I did. Just as we are right here and now. Where's his integrity?
Now, before the groin shot even happened, would you have to ask you, Ken, how did it feel being in the cage with him which almost happened 21 years ago? Did you feel like you were fighting a different fighter, or did you have largely the same feeling stepping in the cage with him for the third time?
Well, again, like I said, when we went into this fight, we knew we had different things that we could do with Royce. I felt like I could probably have gone anywhere with him, but that's just my opinion. But Guy Metzger set up a game plan that we were going to force Royce Gracie to go where he doesn't want to go, and that's keep him on his feet, because nobody can take me down. I mean, I all through our training, nobody could actually take me down. And we were punching. Guys were trying to take me down. Fresh guys coming every 2.5 minutes. I'd be punching him, try to take me down. I'd defend it. I'd strike him. I'd counter him. And that was our plan, was to bring Royce Gracie into deep waters like he said he was going to do to me. The only thing is he wanted to bring it into the third round and go to the ground. He thought we were going to be on the ground. I made him stand up, and I used my footwork to cut the ring off, to put constant pressure on him, making him throw all these weird things that he does, making him work hard. And then when he starts to run out of room or gets frustrated or gets a little tired, he would force a clinch or shoot. And that's exactly what he did. Once we clinched, that's when I realized, and I know he did, that's when I realized that he doesn't have a chance to win this fight, because he was so weak. He had nothing. And I was literally going, I'm going to kill this guy. And, of course, then the blow, I wasn't moving. I wasn't dancing around. I hit him in the face with a knee. Immediately after that, he's looking right, if you look at the replay, he's looking right down at my groin. And I'm not moving, I'm not dancing around, and he throws a knee directly into my groin with absolutely no care where it lands.
So let me ask you, because we've rewatched that replay multiple times. It's one thing that I personally didn't notice, that he was looking at the groin, and I know when it happened, you said he did it on purpose, and then afterwards you said you apologized. What's your stance now? Do you think it was on purpose, or do you think it was just careless? What do you think was behind it?
When it first happened in the ring, the reason why I jumped up and I was so angry was because we've never had that issue before, and we were actually in a clinch, and I wasn't moving around, and he actually, when he threw the knee, it wasn't even upward, it was straight. And it wasn't like I was moving side to side or going back and forth. I was standing right in front of him. So when he threw it and I went down, I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no way he did that. There's no way he did that by accident. No way. And so I jumped up and I got angry, but then I held myself, because I thought, you know what? I don't know that for sure. And so I put myself in check, and I apologized for that, because I didn't know for sure. The reason why I've taken the stance at this point right now is because of the way he's acting. the way that he's satisfied with getting that win. Because anybody that does that by accident would step up and say, you know what, you're right, we need a rematch. That was definitely a low blow. I apologize. Let's do another one. But he's not doing that. He's running with the win. He is running with this win.
Before we get to Royce's comments, because he has made some comments after the fight, let me ask you, how hard was the knee that he hit you to the groin with, and how much did it affect you?
Well, when it first landed, it stung. I mean, it literally stung, and it froze me for a second because I was like, okay, that just hit me in the groin. And then all of a sudden, here comes the aching, man, right into my sack. It was like, it just took the wind out of me. I mean, it bent me over. And what I had figured out when I was going down is that my jump was actually pinned between the cup and my skin. So I was trying the whole time, even after the fight, I'm trying to push it down, and I couldn't tell whether or not everything was where it was supposed to be. So it was, like I said, it was a good shot. It was definitely a good shot. I've been punched, and I've been kicked there before, and I've never gone down. This one here bent me over.
Was there any point, Ken, where you thought about motioning to the referee and letting him know that you got hit low, or did it all just kind of happen too fast?
If you watched the replay, you didn't watch it closely. Because you can tell when the referee's over the top of me, I'm screaming at him, you need me in the groin.
No, sorry, but yeah, at that point, it kind of seemed like it was too late. Like, you were on the ground, I guess the referee didn't see it, but like, when you guys were in the clinch, was there any moment there where you thought, because it was a bit of a delayed reaction, was there any moment there where you thought about signaling to the ref?
At that moment, I was literally trying to, one, stay in the fight, and then two, when the pain set in, it literally, I wasn't thinking of anything. I was thinking of protecting myself.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you were very vocal about your disappointment with referee Montalvo, but after the fight, now it's sort of a week removed. How do you feel about his performance in the stoppage? Are you still pretty upset at his performance as a referee in that fight?
No, I'm not upset at him. I'm upset. Never mind. Let me explain. I'm not upset at him because he missed the call, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody. And so it's okay when that happens. The problem that I'm frustrated with, and I just don't know what it is, maybe it's because the commissions are tying his hands, that he can't say anything. I don't know. But what's frustrating is I can always be the one to say what I do wrong in different fights. You know, like, yeah, that was my bad. I should have done this or that. I apologize. But it seems like there's faults elsewhere that lies within these situations, and that nobody wants to poke their head up and say, yeah, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. That's the thing that bothers me the most, is that it's not that the mistake was made, because it happens. That's not the issue. The issue is, how come we can't get people to just go, yes, I made a mistake, and we'll fix it. Boom, that's it. But we're making this thing like it's some big ordeal. And like, oh my goodness, he should be put in front of a firing squad. No, it was a missed friggin' call. That's it. Just fix it.
You've made it clear that you're definitely not upset with the ref. Obviously, you know, now going back to Royce Gracie's comments, he spoke to MMA Fighting, and he said that his knee did not catch your groin, and he's very happy because that was obviously his first knockout. And even after the fight, he was kind of waving his finger, sort of signaling that, you know, he didn't agree that he hit you in the groin. What are your thoughts on Royce's comments?
You know, I can't control what Royce does. You know what? He gets to do what he wants to do, and then let people judge him. I can't, I'm not going to argue that, because I know what happened. He knows what happened. And I just cannot believe, after all these years and all the stuff that we've helped build, that this is in integrity. This is how he wants to go out? Is by lying and cheating? Come on, man.
You said you had a conversation with him backstage. Obviously, you know, you said it was on purpose, and then you guys clarified it. Can you tell us what exactly you guys talked about backstage? And did you discuss, did you say anything to him about, like, you hit me in the groin? Did he deny it? Was there anything like that?
No, we didn't really have a discussion backstage. We had a discussion in the ring.
So let's talk about what happens now. In the pre-fight press conference, somebody asked you if you saw a scenario where the two of you will fight again, and you said that once this fight happened, it's done. Nobody really could have predicted this outcome. What's happening next? What would you like? What would be the perfect scenario for you that you'd like to see happen from here on out?
Well, what I'd like to see is that the commission to overturn the ruling, because you can't award a guy a win on a foul. And I think it's pretty clear that I was hit below the belt. Forget what side you stand on or what you think is fair or this or that. Did it hit me below the belt? Yes. You're not a judge. You cannot tell me. You weren't in my body, so no one can tell me about how much it hurt or whether or not hitting the right. But was it below the belt? Yes. Did it incapacitate me enough to be able to not defend myself? Yes. If those are the scenarios, then you must overturn this fight and give the ruling a no. Well, I don't think they could do a no contest, but they can definitely turn the decision over and make it a no contest like it didn't. There's no ruling. But I also would like to add that if Royce Gracie doesn't fight and he just tries to walk away after there's no contest, I want them to award the fight to me. Because what I'm saying is I need something that's going to press Royce Gracie to fight. Because if it's just a no contest, then Royce Gracie will just walk away. Because he doesn't want to get in the ring with me. Like, not now. Not now. I mean, look what he did now. Look what he did to get out of the ring. So to get him back in the ring, it's going to have to be something that's going to push him to get in the ring. And I think by giving him a loss, if he has to take a loss, he'll get in the ring.
Well, there's a very real possibility Royce Gracie may not agree to fighting you again. What would your reaction be if Royce denies your request, and your trilogy ended on such a sour note?
If Royce Gracie goes, I don't want to fight Ken Shamrock, but that doesn't have anything to do with the commission. This is just Royce Gracie.
Right.
If Royce Gracie says, I don't want to fight Ken Shamrock anymore, there's nothing else I could do. But I don't want to hear this, no, I won, no, it's over. That I don't want to hear. What I want to hear is it says, I don't want to fight you.
Would you sort of take solace in that? I mean, I guess you obviously want to fight him. You're calling him out in a sense. And if he's saying he doesn't want to fight you, I mean, I guess you could sort of take it as backing down. Would you take any solace in that? Like, not to say that you've won, but in the end, he's the one who didn't want to fight you?
Well, I mean, obviously, it doesn't do anything for the record. What I want to see happen is I want that fight overturned. And then, if they overturn the fight and there's no win there, and then he says, I don't want to fight you, then I could take solace in that, even though I want to fight the guy. But if he says he doesn't want to fight, then I can't force him to fight. I can't make him fight. I don't know what his situation is. But what I don't want him to do is say, I don't want to fight you, and then he gets a win.
Mm.
Since you've returned to active competition, you've been going after old rivals like Kimbo and Royce and seemingly looking to tie up loose ends and close chapters. It doesn't really seem like you may be getting the vindication that you might be looking for. Is there any part of you that regrets coming out of retirement for this Royce fight?
Not at all. No way. I mean, obviously there's a frustration there, but I can't look back and go, man, I just wish I had done that, because I can't change it. I can't. I mean, there's so many fans out there that I was able to entertain and be able to have some great moments. If I look back on it, there are parts that piss me off. I mean, let's just say there's replay, right? Mm-hmm. I'm 2-0 in Bellator. If there is replay, instant replay, I'm 2-0 in Bellator. Because then they'll replay the Kimbo fight, see that he reached out and tapped. Oh, yeah, he didn't tap hard. He touched the mat. Oh, so now we're going to split atoms now. Whether he tapped or he didn't tap, it's whether how hard he taps. No, if a guy motions to tap, he can't allow him to try to fake people out, because that's not part of the strategy. He either tapped, he didn't tap. And if you look at the replay, he tapped. So you tell me. I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. Big time frustrating. But you know what? I would do it all over again. I don't know. Hopefully the results would be different. But I came out of retirement because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to challenge myself and continue to keep having fun. And I did that. But you know what? There's some disappointments now. But again, that's life. We deal with it. We just got to figure it out as we go. All I could do right now, all I have control over right now, is going through the proper steps, filing the paperwork. Hopefully the things will get done right, and we'll get the rematch. We'll see what happens. I don't have control of anything else.
Right. Well, yeah, Scott Coker's the man who is in control to make this fight happen. Did you speak with Scott at all, and has he given you any indication that he'd like to make this fight happen again?
I know I have a business partner, Jess Woodruff, who's been speaking with him. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, my attorney, Rod Donohue, who was dealing with the legal issues with the commission of the no contest or no whatever they're going to call it. So I try to stay away from that because I'm too emotionally attached to it. So I don't want to be saying or doing anything that I would regret. So I'm allowing just the people that That's their job. That's what they do. I'll let them handle it.
Mm-hmm. Well, just curious, Ken, how many fights do you have left with the Bellator? Was it just a 2-fight contract, or do you still have another fight guaranteed?
No, it was definitely a 1 fight each time. I know that they had some rights to being able to write the first right to refusal. So, but listen, I probably got 1 fight left in me, and that's what we were planning on. We had some options in other places and options with Bellator. So, this fight didn't end the way it should have for the fans or for myself. But, listen, I just know this, is that I got to focus on Royce Gracie right now. And there's nothing else that I really want to do up to this point. That's all I want. But nothing else matters. And I want that.
It's interesting that you mention that, because obviously if the fight would have gone properly and maybe you would have won, would you think that would probably be it for you and you would have officially retired?
No, I think I would have had 1 more fight after that. But now that I've gone through the training camp, I got in the ring with Royce, ended the way it did, I mean, that used up one of my fights. I mean, it's like, the fight's not the hard part, it's the training and being away from your family. That's the hard part. And my family and myself had planned on a certain time limit that we would get these 2 fights in, and that time limit is coming up quick.
Ken, we really appreciate the time you're giving us, and we'll wrap up in just a moment. We've just got 2 more questions before we let you go. One of them, sort of on a side note, we read a story in an article by Jeremy Botter of Bleacher Report that apparently former UFC fighter Mark Hall was handing out flyers at the Dave & Buster's Fan Fest detailing why a fight between you and him makes sense. I'm just wondering if you heard about this and know why he would want to fight you so badly.
Yeah, I can explain it to you, but it's pretty dumb. I mean, it was childish. It was childish on my part. I lost my temper. But Mark Hall, he's an idiot. But anyways, I was at an event, and people were telling Mark Hall was looking for me. He was pissed off about something that I had said or done. I don't remember. So I told him, I said, all right, I'll be there. So I get there, and Mark Hall comes up with a bunch of his buddies. There's like 3 of them that are behind him. And he's walking up, and I'm in the hallway where the bathroom is in this venue place. And as he's walking up, he's saying that he's going to kill me or beat me up, or I don't want to use these words, but really just going off. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at him, I'm going, well, what is this guy say? What is he doing? I mean, what did I do to him? And he's like, yeah. He started screaming and yelling, and of course, then Vernon and a lot of these other guys die, and a bunch of guys that were there, Eddie Millis, they all cut off the guys that were walking behind, whatever his name is, walking behind him. And so he's walking by himself, and he still thinks he's got all his buddies behind him. And I looked at him, I said, dude, you got no backup. And he turned around and looked, and then all of a sudden he balled up his fist, and he went to take a swing at me, and I clocked him. I lit him up. And the ambulance came and picked him up and took him to the hospital. Then he tried to sue me. And, of course, they threw that out of court. So that's the issue. I didn't even recognize this guy when he came up. I was like, who are you? I mean, you get these guys that come out of the woodwork, and then sometimes they get through the, security or something, and they get to speak their mind or something. But the same thing at Dave & Buster's, they kicked him out. I mean, they literally booed him off the property because he was sitting there trying to sell little figures and passing out flyers, and people were like, who are you?
Wow. So he came up to you. What did he say when he came up to you? Did he just give you a flyer, or what happened?
Yeah, he signed something at me. It had my head, like, I don't even know what it was, but I know it was some derogatory. He had my head. It had been chopped off or something. And I looked at him, and I said, did I do something to you? And he goes, it's Mark Hall. And I went, oh. I said, what are you doing here, man? And then of course, that's when all the guys pushed him away and got him out of there, because I don't need to put that guy in the hospital again. Is he an idiot or what? I mean, it's like you already put a guy in the hospital when he comes up, tries to fight you. A guy walks up to you, balls up just like he's going to hit you, goes to swing at you. You light him up, and then he says you cheap shot at him. It's like, oh, so you're supposed to land the first punch before you get a hit back.
Wow, what an interesting story, Ken. Now, before we let you go, we have to know, what's the time frame for when you'd like a perfect scenario where you'd come back and fight again? Obviously, if the commission does overturn it, or if Scott Coker and Royce Gracie agrees to this fight happening again, how soon could we see you back fighting?
Well, I would like to see it, anywhere from a 3 to a 4 month turnaround on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends. It all depends on how fast the commission gets through this, on how fast we can get this rematch. And again, we got a couple things we got to get around. First of all, we got to get around the commission, and hopefully that they will come up and say, "Hey, we're going to do this. You guys can go and do it again. We'll overturn this." And then to get Royce Gracie to say that he'll get back in the ring with me. That's the big obstacles right there.
Well, it's interesting, and we can't wait to see how it all plays out. Guys, you can keep an eye on all of Ken's updates via Twitter at Shamrock Ken. Ken, thank you so much for coming back onto the program and chatting with us, and best of luck securing another fight with Royce.
I appreciate it. Also, too, I want to let people know how they can get a hold of me on all my social media sites, KenShamrock.com. If you go on there and you look on there, there's a little Easter egg on my site. You got to find it because it's in a small spot. But once you find it, it opens up a secret door, and you get to come in and check out all my pictures and videos and stuff that I don't have posted there for everybody. So you get to kind of get into this secret family. So check it out, KenShamrock.com. Look, it's in a small place. Find that Easter egg, man, and come join the family.